Hello, I'm not Angelique. I'm me, but I may look like shit because I've been sick and I've barely been sleeping. But when these things come to me, I have to make the videos. Oh, that's interesting. I see the heart bobbing up. Are you trying to hide my double, triple chins, heart? Thank you. Very considerate of you. Angelique's story ended a long time ago. She was gonna move on. And I should have. You know, according to the rules, you're not supposed to be sitting around waiting, but I haven't been able to. And I've been chastising myself, quite frankly. You know, what the hell's the matter with me? Don't I want to have some life? And then my grandma's came into my mind. And then bird mating habits came into my mind. Yes, people, my mind works in very strange ways, but you'll see why. So, my two grandmas both lost their spouses around the age of 30. They had pre-teens, or, you know, very early teens, their kids. Both spouses died with no warning, unexpected deaths. And there were my two grandmas, quite young still, at 30, raising 3 for one and 4 kids for the other, all by themselves. And they took very different paths after that. My one grandma with the 4 daughters met a new man and married him, and that's the only grandpa I knew. And I think they must have been married for 40 years, maybe even, no, I don't think quite 50, but I mean, they were married a long time. And then my other grandma never remarried, never had any romantic interest that I know of. Now, you know, I know it wasn't fashionable to sleep with someone when you weren't married to them back then, but it does occur to me that women still must have had those needs. I don't know what they did about that kind of thing. But aside from those needs, that's a long damn time to not have any kind of romantic connection, to not have a companion, no one to show you any physical affection, no one to listen to you. That's a long time, because she lived until she was like 104. That heart's irritating me. I gotta try to move away from it. And I don't know how she did it. And you know, I suppose I should have probably pulled both of my grandmas forward in spirit and asked them. But I didn't. I just kind of started this without doing my research with my grandmas. But I mean, it's quite a contrast. Okay, heart, you're irritating me. Thank you very much. And so I look at how my grandmas handled things when they lost the love they knew they were meant to be with. One found a replacement and probably was very happy. The other one never found anyone because she knew there was no replacement, and she chose to be independent and alone for the rest of her life. And so then that brought me to bird mating habits. Yes. This is going to be an odd one. Thought I would call this twin flame flight. Are you a swan, a duck, a house wren, or a phoenix? And I added the phoenix only because, you know, a lot of times we hit the skids in this stuff and then we rise like a phoenix from the ashes. So hopefully almost everyone's a phoenix. But, you know, I guess there are people that refuse to learn the lessons and they just move on and they don't get to be phoenixes. Maybe I shouldn't even have phoenix in the title. Yes, I'm mulling this over on camera. I should think this out, not on camera. So let's go to the ones I do know about. So my one grandma that never had another partner in her life would be compared to the swan, the goose, and the eagle. They mate for life. They find their bird they claim each other, and that's it until one dies. And I'm not sure if then they find a new bird or if they kind of wither away and die like it happens with old people that have been together a long time. You know, often they die very quickly after when they've been left by their partner. Somehow it seems like it might be that way, but I don't know. Then there are ducks and other birds that are monogamous with the bird they choose for a season, which would be more like a soulmate, because, you know, soulmates come in to present the lesson that you've agreed on, and then they often leave your life, and so you could look at it as they're with you for a season, however long that is, and then you can meet another soulmate at another time. You can have several soulmates in a lifetime. You only can have one twin flame. And then there are the house wrens, where apparently the male house wren makes several nests, picks out his main bird, his main lady bird, lets her pick her favorite nest, but then he goes out and finds other women, birds, to fill up the other nest, because he went to all that work after all, and he just makes a lot of babies. But the women have their little nest that they picked out, and they raise the babies all by themselves. Now, the house wren, that's all the mention they're going to get, because I've never been a house wren, and I'm never going to be a house wren. I'm not a multiple kind of person. And right now, I'm trying to decide if I can step out of the category I know I'm in and try to be the other one. I'm a swan. I've met my person. My soul and my heart have told me this is who I'm supposed to be within this lifetime. It ain't working out. And yes, I may be up in years, but I do have some left in me. And so I'm trying to decide, can I be a duck? And some of you might also be trying to decide, should I stay? Am I a swan? Should I go? Am I a duck? What if I want to get laid? Okay, that was a little odd to throw that in there, but if you're examining whether you want to be a swan, and your male swan or your other energy swan is not in your life, you know, there are practicalities. And again, yes, I'm up in years, but I'm not dead. And there is that use it or lose it kind of thing that people taunt you with. So that's why I'm deciding, can I be a duck? Can I somehow make myself not be a swan and be a duck? So this, people, is what I have been mulling over. And I share it only because there's a lot of people out there that might be actually considering the same thing, although not in the weird swan duck context. But, you know, this might actually be an analogy that works for some. Because if you're a swan without your partner, you're just swimming around the lake all by yourself, and you have to decide how long that's going to be. Your swan partner is not technically gone, and you have chosen for life. So as a swan, you're not ready to pick out a new swan. That's not how it works. You know, it's confusing. So can a swan morph into a duck? That's what I'm trying to decide. That's why I'm presenting this very crazy presentation. And it may be crazy, but there will be people that can relate, I think. You're like, what the fuck do I do? I'm a swan! But do I want to be a lonely swan forever? Can I transform? I can't answer that for you. I just know that my grandma that never had a partner lived way longer than my grandma that did. She hummed a lot to herself. She was very set in her ways, but she was pretty much happy until, you know, she went, yeah. And yet that doesn't seem all that appealing to me. I don't know how she did it. I have much admiration for her. But it doesn't seem like an option for me. Yet if you're born a swan, you can't really be a duck. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a little nuts right now. Mainly because I've been triggered. It's been very hard for me to have any hope at this point. And I torture myself because now and then I go somewhere where I can see my twin, and then it just, drags everything up, and I get hopeful, and then there's nothing to be hopeful about. I do this to myself. It is now hours later. I lost the other half of my video earlier today. I've made several attempts. There have been nothing but technology glitches, and so I didn't even mess with the wig. I guess I just wanted to say that the energies are kind of brutal right now. So if you're having a rough time, please be gentle with yourself. It's the moon, it's the planets, the Mercury retrograde. Apparently the collectives are having a big buildup of tension. There are a lot of triggers and a lot of purging. I myself have had to deal with jealousy, something I haven't dealt with because I really didn't care enough since I was a young woman first getting into the world of men that had no tendencies toward staying faithful. So there actually was a little bit of legitimate activity to promote jealousy, and now I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but it definitely has come up as a shadow, which is what I guess these energies are all about. I have been comparing and finding myself coming up short, which of course is ego. It may be negative ego, but it is ego nonetheless. It's hard sometimes to be watching from the distance and to see people turning up more often in your person's life and to realize there may be something special growing for them. We want them to be happy, but still it's hard. I'm thinking of that song Jealous by Labyrinth. It's hard for me to say I'm jealous of the way you're happy without me. But unconditional love. It doesn't matter if you're in their life or not, you want your twin to be happy. It's just sometimes a little hard to deal with, and I was surprised to have it come up for me. It just is what it is. But, for me, it came with a nice present, I guess you would say. As I was saying, wait a minute, he's got younger, thinner, prettier. In one person, he's got nurturing and support. In another person, he's got a whole community of people there for him. I've got no one. A little pity party there. And these people in his life can provide everything he needs. Why would he go to the trouble of digging deep and healing his own hurts to bring me in? There's really no place in his life for me. This is what I have been telling myself. Now, why am I sharing that? Because Spirit came in with a gift for me. So as I'm saying, yeah, but younger, prettier, thinner, Spirit was saying it doesn't matter. None of that matters, because in the long run, there's no one that he will have this spiritual connection with other than you. That's how this works. You don't have to be worried that you have no place in his life, because when he comes to that point that that spiritual connection is important, there's only one person that can fill that position. And then when I'm thinking, oh God, basically the body image issues, that place where you're like, oh God, I'm glad my person has a little belly, because then he'll be understanding about me. Spirit kicked in with, it doesn't, and you may be surprised that Spirit is actually quite realistic and blunt about these kinds of things. And pardon me for bringing them up, but this was a good point, and many of you may be reassured by this. It doesn't matter how athletic, creative, experienced other partners may be in the bedroom. There is only one person that can join in that special, intimate connection, because it brings the spiritual connection in. So for those of you that are doing the same crap to yourselves that I am, watching and thinking you don't have a place, maybe right now we don't have a place. It doesn't mean that we never will. And it doesn't mean that we have to sit and wait. Go ahead, be a duck. When it is meant to all come together, it will. Whether you're a swan, a duck, or what was that other one? Some kind of wren. So, just to give you a little hope, if that's what you're looking for. If you need to move on, move on. It's hard to watch as your person moves on. Love yourself first. That's what this is all about. Love yourself first. So if you need to stay faithful to be loving toward yourself, do that. If you need to go meet someone else, you could have a soulmate out there. We have lots of soulmates in our life, as I mentioned before. It'll all come together when it's supposed to. It's hard to have faith, but if you don't have any faith, what is there to life, right? So I'm going to quit yakking, and if you feel so inclined, I would love to hear if you could relate it all to the swan, duck, wren thing, and which you are, if you thought about it. And I understand if you don't want to comment, but I'd love to hear from you. I know I come up with very odd things, but I can't be the only odd swan in the bunch. All right, guys, take care.